Hi, my name is Alicia, and you're watching the Reptile Rendezvous. In today's video, we are going to be looking at some of the most venomous snakes in the entire world. Venomous snakes cause about 50 to 100,000 deaths every year, depending on what source you're looking at. Even though snakes tend to only attack when they feel threatened, in some areas, encounters with snakes are just way more common. This often leads to snakes, especially venomous snakes, being seen as scary, dangerous creatures, when in reality, they're actually quite fascinating and pretty misunderstood. In this video, we're not going to be looking at the top 5 most venomous snakes, but the top 5 most venomous snakes in specific categories. This list is not meant to scare you and only actually educate you and maybe teach you something you didn't know about these really fascinating snakes. So without further ado, let's get on to the video. So the first animal on this list is actually the most venomous snake in the world, and that is inland taipans. They're a very drab looking snake in contrast to some of the other venomous snakes on this list, but considering they are the most venomous snake in the world, I don't really think it's important whether they are colorful or not. They are a medium-sized snake getting from 6 to 8 feet long, so you don't have a giant super predator on the loose. With an LD50 of 400 to 600 milligrams, that is enough venom to kill 100 men in one bite. Inland taipans actually release presynaptic and postsynaptic neurotoxins in their venom. These specific toxins leads to paralysis, muscle failure, and even respiratory failure, which often leads to death. They are from Australia, and lucky for all of my Australian viewers on here, the chances that you will encounter one of these snakes is pretty low. This specific species of snake is actually very shy and will avoid contact with humans and other animals at all costs, which actually explains the lack of actual recorded deaths from this species. So unless you're actively looking for the most venomous snake in the world, you most likely will never encounter an inland taipan and are pretty safe in this situation. I think it is pretty funny that the most venomous snake in the world is actually an introvert. Moving on to one of the most infamous species of snakes on our planet, and that is the king cobra. They are native to the Indian subcontinent, southeastern Asia, and southern China. And despite their common name, they are not actually a true cobra. They are part of their own genus called Ophiophagus, if I pronounced that correctly. They are actually the longest venomous snake in the entire world, with an average length of 10 to 13 feet, with individuals actually being found at 19 feet long. King cobras are probably the most famous snake on this list just because they are seen in so much media. Oftentimes when you see cobras in movies and shows, it's king cobras or monocle cobras, and that just really adds a lot to the fear factor of this snake species. That being said, I still understand being wary of the species. They actually deliver a lot of venom in each bite, one of the largest venom yields in the entirety of the venomous snakes. Their venom is very similar to inland taipans, so primarily neurotoxins, which affects the same areas that I just explained for the inland taipans. So getting a bite from these guys wouldn't be very fun. That being said, from what I've seen, the king cobras are one of the most relaxed cobra species, even though they're not really cobras, but I do find they are typically more relaxed and docile than some other cobra species. So I definitely think if I had to pick a species to interact with, it would definitely be a king cobra over something like a spitting cobra. The third animal on this list is actually my boyfriend's favorite venomous snake, and that is the Gaboon Viper. I know he'll be watching this video, so I just thought I would mention that. This viper species is native to sub-Saharan Africa, and they actually have the longest fangs of any venomous snake. They are about 2 inches in length, which is extremely long for any fangs, and they also have the highest venom yield of any venomous snake, meaning not only can they pierce 2 inches into the flesh of their prey, but they also deliver the most amount of venom on record. They actually have hemotoxic and cytotoxic venom, which affects the blood and the cells of the individual, which can lead to tissue damage, hemorrhage, and blood clotting. Now, all of this might sound pretty scary, but these guys are actually very slow-moving, docile snakes. They only get from 4 to 5 feet long and are pretty heavy-bodied. So realistically, you could see a bite coming from a foot away. Like, they really are slow, calm snakes and are pretty reluctant to bite in the first place. Now, that doesn't mean when you're in Africa you should go pick up a Gaboon Viper, but I will say that I would be less worried about that specific snake biting me than other snakes in Africa. Now, the next snake on this list is actually a little bit of a change, and this is going to be a sea snake, specifically the Dubois Sea Snake. This snake is actually native to Papua New Guinea, New Caledonia, and the coast of Australia. It can live up to depths of 262 feet below sea level, often being found in the coral reef flats. It only reaches about 2 to 5 feet, but it is the most venomous sea snake in the entire world. That being said, it is the most venomous sea snake based on the LD50. So when tested in rats and mice, it has a LD50 of 0.043 milligrams, but in humans that only equates to 3.33 milligrams. Comparing that to the 400 to 600 milligrams of the inland Taipan, I think we can see here that this sea snake is a lot less dangerous than we think. With only one recorded death from an unidentified sea snake species in the entirety of history, these snakes really are not that big of a deal. Now, for some reason you were to get bit and it delivered enough venom for you to actually feel the effects, it actually has neurotoxic venom just like the inland Taipan and the king cobra, so you would feel similar symptoms. I think this species of snake is actually really cool. Sea snakes in general are actually pretty interesting because they are fully aquatic snakes that basically live off of the coral reefs, and I think that's super interesting to learn about. Our final animal on this list is probably the one I'm personally the most scared of, if that's what you'd want to call it. I would definitely be the most wary of this species, and that is saw-scaled vipers, or the Echis genus, which is a genus of 12 different species of vipers. They are found in Africa, the Middle East, India, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan, and they are known for being responsible for the most human deaths related to venomous snakes. Snakes in this specific genus range from 12 to 35 inches, making them very, very small snakes, meaning they're even more elusive and hard to spot. That is part of the reason they actually cause so many deaths, because people just don't notice them and end up stepping on them or coming near them, and this snake is not very reluctant to bite. They are ready to bite you. If you're lucky enough not to get bit instantly, their distinctive threat display is actually moving their body in a C shape and creating a sort of sizzling noise with their scales. Now, the reason they are so ready to bite is because being such a small animal in places where there's so many predators, they are just prepared to defend themselves at all costs. And really, any animal is like that. I think they've just never heard the saying, pick your battles. Everything is a threat, no matter whether it's trying to eat it or not. And unfortunately, their venom is a deadly cocktail of a bunch of different toxins. A bite from this snake would be filled with neurotoxins, cardiotoxins, hemotoxins, and cytotoxins, which is just a huge amalgamation of things you don't want to be dealing with. I think it's really important to understand, though, that again, these snakes are defensive. They're not aggressive. And I think that that is the problem with the way people portray venomous snakes, is that they are going to bite you in any situation. But realistically, venomous snakes are never big enough to eat you. So there's no reason for them to actually actively want to bite you. They just do it because they are afraid of you. But that is my list of top venomous snakes that are alive today. I hope you enjoyed this list and maybe learned something along the way that you just didn't know about venomous snakes. And if you are someone who's afraid of snakes, I hope that this video kind of helped show you that these animals, albeit possibly deadly or sometimes scary, are really just trying to protect themselves. They are prey as well, which means that they are just as scared of you as you are of them. But with that being said, if you are interested in learning more about reptiles and not necessarily just venomous ones, I would definitely recommend you to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you know every time I post a new video. I have tons of different videos on reptiles and I plan to post a lot more. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.